What's going on, everybody? I'm just doing another drive and talk deal. Um, One thing that I wanted to talk about is the movie and TV series of Highlander. Growing up, that was one of my favorite shows. Between the fantasy aspect of it, the fighting, I just loved every bit of it. And the characters had such a deep lore behind them that you just got drawn in. Um, the first movie, classic, really should have been the only thing. The series is good. Like the TV series with Adrian Paul was good, but movie wise, that should have been it. Just stick with the first one. Highlander 2. I remember the first time I saw it, I thought, "Ooh, how are they gonna um, explain the fact that this story is going on still?" The whole alien thing didn't make sense. I guess in a way, the time travel could have been weaved in there. Like you could have had them change the timeline somehow, so Connor hadn't killed all the immortals and the game continued. Something like that. It could have been done, but the aliens, no. Mm-mm. Highlander 3, the final dimension, as I saw it as. I think it's also called the Sorcerer, which I guess you could call it back, but I loved Mario Van Peebles as the villain. Thought he was great. Story wise, oh, I don't know. It's a bit of a mess. And when it gets to the point of the whole blacksmithing scene, because Connor McLeod goes back to his old, like his homestead, you'd call it, in the Highlands, and he has to reforge his sword because it got broken in a fight. Seeing what they thought looked cool. It looks good on screen. You could definitely tell, like, he's not an expert blacksmith trying to reforge the sword after having, his confidence broken. Okay, I get it what they were going for, but once you know a little bit about blacksmithing, it's like watching a plumber do open heart surgery. But overall, it wasn't bad. It wasn't terrible, but the movie itself was good. The next one was, I believe that was Endgame, which takes place after the TV series. So it just kind of like ties everything together. Um, Endgame wasn't bad. Brought in a lot of the story from the TV show, like I said. You have Connor McLeod back, which I don't know. They got some mileage out of Christopher Lambert. Um, the story of it, complete mess. But fight scene wise, I found it enjoyable. So I kind of give it a pass for that, but by no means would I recommend it. Um, and then following that, I remember being a teenager and like this is like my first like experiences on the internet and all that. I kept on hearing on the message boards about Highlander the Source, and it was supposed to be this great epic movie where they were going to find the source of the immortals, the whole reason for their existence. And I thought that's great. That's got a fucking story you could just like chew into, and there's got to be a lot of meat on that bone, and you could really do some interesting things. Didn't hear anything production wise. I want to say it was till like 2008, 2009. So we're going on like 10 years from that point. And then the movie comes out. And I'm like, oh, that finally came out. Like, what the hell? I didn't hear anything. I didn't know it was going direct to video. I think it was. And to be honest, I was so excited the first time that I watched that movie. That was the first time I've ever been really let down. Um, just it's like if you think Highlander 2 is bad, watch Highlander the Source. It's gonna turn Highlander 2 into a masterpiece. Because you just had all of this. The story was all over the place. The acting was, like, aside from Adrian Paul, the acting was below standard. The special effects for the time, like, you could definitely tell they had almost no budget. But yeah, Highlander the Source was just crap. Uh, but that leads me back to the TV show. Like, the TV show I liked. Season one was a bit like the villain of the week kind of deal, where, it's like, Duncan MacLeod's going up against this guy. What's the problem in this episode? It's like, it was good, but it just it didn't feel like a great storytelling experience. But season two on, from what I understand, they switched the writers, and it became more of, they had long branching stories, and everything got more complex. And, like, I like the relationship between him and Richie, because there was the mentor and the student, and the directions that they went in. Like, they fought. It wasn't like, it was kind of akin to Batman and Robin. Like, Dick Grayson was always at odds with Bruce about some things, and it added a nice dynamic to their relationship. And then the fight scenes in it were good. I like that they expanded on it, that you could have light and dark quickenings, and it could affect the immortal's personality. It added a rich layer to the whole idea of Highlanders. And now, from what I understand, they're going to try to reboot it. Oddly enough, I thought, I had read somewhere that Henry Cavill was going to be in the remake, and then supposedly it's Chris Hemsworth now, which I don't know where that came from. Um, but I still have to do some looking around online. But I'm hoping that if they don't go the one movie route, which I highly doubt they will, that they if they do, they have it planned out over multiple movies, where you can tell the beginnings in the first movie. You could have the fight set in the past. You could then have, like, the middle movie, where after he's become an immortal, like, working his way through the centuries. And then if you want to do a trilogy, the last movie could be current times, where he's, fighting the end of the game. Like, to me, that would be an interesting trilogy, but flesh it out a little bit. You know what I mean? So yeah, that's just what I wanted to talk about today. Just the Highlander series. I mean, I love it. I don't know if anyone out there else has seen it and holds it in such high regard as I do. But if you do, let me know in the comments below. Let's get a little discussion going. All right?